Hello viewers, this is Paladin of Odin, and this is some more Magic the Gathering Online. This is another episode of the Standard Commentary series. And it looks like we've got an interesting looking Scales deck. Typically we only see green and white, maybe mono green. I've seen Bant. So I don't know why he's running Smoldering Marsh, unless he's splashing for like kill cards, so he can play Murderous Cut or something like that. And the other side is playing Ramp. Hedron Archive. I was actually hoping that he was playing a land search so that we might find out which flavor of Ramp he's running, whether it's red or blue. But Double Hardened Scales turns that Managorger Hydra into a 4/4 off of one spell being played. Follows all of that up with a third Hardened Scales. So his Hydra is now a 7/7 trample. No blockers, he gets in for 7, Ramp is down to 13. And Ramp is in serious trouble here. Okay, that's interesting. White mana. So, Selesnya Ramp. 6 for Nissa's Renewal. That turns the Hydra into an 11/11. He'll go back up to 20. And now he's got 2, 6, 7. So he does have 7 lands, so this is active. So 7, 8, 9. 9 mana available. One more, if he plays a land on his turn. Okay. Dramoka's Command turns it into a 19/19 and kills off the Whisperer. In comes the Hydra for 19. Ramp is at 1. He pretty much has to drop a bomb here or he's dead. Plain and simple. Well, he's tapping a lot of mana. And there's Ulamog. That will save him here. Get rid of the Hydra and one of the Hardened Scales. Oh, and Scales concedes. He must not have had any way to deal with something like Ulamog. Otherwise, being at 1, all you'd need is to get through for 1 damage. But he must not have had a way to do it. So, he concedes. Let's go to game 2. So, turn 1 Hardened Scales. The Scales deck couldn't have asked for a better start. Throws down Servant of the Scale, which is a 2/2 now. Back over to Ramp. 2 mana. Rune in their wake. Whisper of the Wilds. Rattleclaw Mystic. Back to Scales. Dramoka's Command to kill off the Whisperer and turn the Servant into a 4/4. Tax in. Ramp is down to 16. Nissa's Pilgrimage. And these are the key rounds for the Scales deck that he has to pour on the damage, while the Ramp deck is stuck without anything really to do except to try and get enough mana to drop a bomb. Right now he is completely vulnerable, and this particular build appears to not run something like Jotty Offshoot to try and absorb some of that early damage and gain you some life. Nissa, Voice of Zendikar. That's gonna be some pretty nasty stuff. Upkeep, Natural State. Destroy target artifact or enchantment with converted mana cost 3 or less. Well, Scales is gone, but that doesn't negate the fact that he's got a 4/4 and another creature, 4 cards in hand, 3 mana open. Nissa puts a +1/+1 counter on all of his creatures. Follows it up with Avatar the Resolute, which is a 5/4. And he can attack in for 6 this round. And I don't know what he was talking about, skipping a turn. And he concedes. Well, I guess we're going to game 3. Alright, turn 2, Whisperer of the Wilds for the ramp side. And Scales throws down a Hangerback Walker for 1. I am a bit surprised by this ramp deck. The fact that he doesn't run Rattleclaw Mystic or Jotty Offshoot. You know, something to have out there to get in the way of these things. I mean, Whisper of the Wilds is fine, but, you know, it's a 0/2. It just gets eaten. That's interesting. Undergrowth Champion. Definitely not something I expected to see from a ramp deck. Back to Scales. Managorger Hydra. Well, the first game was, you know, ridiculous. He had 3 hardened Scales, so that Hydra was going to be disgusting one way or another. But it could be the key to him winning against this particular setup. Since Undergrowth Champion prevents damage and removes a counter to prevent it, you know, he's not going to die. But because the Hydra has trample, he can run him over and keep running him over and still do damage to the face while knocking the Undergrowth Champion down. But now we're waiting on Ramp to play something. He's got 5 mana available to him. Throws down Nissa's Pilgrimage. So Champion will be a 5/5. Follows it up with another Nissa's Pilgrimage. So Hydra will be a 3/3. And now the champion is up to a 6/6. But the champion has nothing other than his prevention ability and landfall. He doesn't have trample, so he can be chump blocked very easily. 3 mana for Scales, another Managorger Hydra. Attacks in with the 4/4 Hydra. That'll take Ramp down to 16. And at the moment, it looks like a race. And if I had to go off what we had right here, right now, I'd say Undergrowth Champion is going to win him this game. I mean, theoretically, he could just use Rogue's Passage to make him unblockable. So, chump block with the Hangerback Walker. Second main phase, Nissa's Renewal. That'd be a pretty good play right now. See the Unwritten. Now that is odd. This deck is very odd. So it's a See the Unwritten deck, unless he sided those in. It gets him another Undergrowth Champion. Wow, he got lucky. All it did was dump a ton of land, which he doesn't really need. Servant of the Scale buffs up both Hydras. Follows that up with Nissa, Voice of Zendikar. Buffs up the Hydras again. So a 7/7 and a 4/4. -2? Yep, -2. So an 8/8 Hydra, a 5/5 Hydra. They both have trample. And I assume he's going in here. And with the Thopter, so that's 13, that's 15 damage. Responds with Natural State to destroy the Thopter, which will buff up the Hydras, effectively letting him do the exact same amount of damage. Though he can block the Hydras, he couldn't block the Thopter. So he takes 15 and goes to 1. We've been here before. It's just in the last time it was like this, he had enough mana to hardcast Ulamog. 6, 7, 8. Actually, he does, because he has Ferocious. Well, it sounds like the ramp deck has conceded. And there he goes. Well, I guess that's the end of this video. That was 4 C scales, I guess, versus See the Unwritten ramp. And if you liked what you